Good day to all of you. So we're already on our news lesson, which we have major industrial accidents. So from our past lesson, we've tackled accidents at work. So what makes that different for this lesson? So we have the keywords major and industrial, and then of course accidents. So if you want to know more, so let's start our lesson. So again, our lesson is all about major industrial accidents. So for the introduction, so the definition of major accident is it is an event, in particular, an emission, fire or explosion, which occurs during industrial processes, storage or transport involving one or more dangerous substances and leading to an immediate threat to the lives or health of the people or the environment or to a delayed emergence of such threat. A major industrial accident is a major accident at an industrial establishment. So the difference between the major accident and major industrial accident is that major industrial accident is also a major accident, but specifically it happens in an industrial establishment. So an establishment, as its definition, is one or several installations together with the area to which the operator of the installation has legal title and the equipment located therein. So another definition, so an installation is a fixed technical unit or a complex of fixed technical units which are technologically interconnected, to which a single entity has legal title, located within the area of a single establishment, and or building structures which are not technical units or a complex of units which when operated may cause emission. So for this, you can watch YouTube videos that shows the most tragic, the word itself, major industrial accidents that have happened worldwide. Okay, so for this graph, so number and types of industrial accidents. So the commonly occurrences of industrial accidents are fire, explosion, and toxic release. So most is of course has the most number is fire, which is 250, and the list is we have explosion, which is roughly I think it's 125. Okay, next is we have number of accidents involving fatalities. So we have for uh, for this number, so the total, and then there is a portion for intoxic emission. So for this one is we have one fatality, and then for this one is we have 2 to 5 fatalities, and then 6 to 10, 11 to 20, and then greater than 20. As we can see here is that, of course, as you can remember with the safety pyramid, so of course a serious injury or fatality, one for every um, 100,000, which is total number of accidents. So next is the consequences of accidents. So the responses here is for black is yes, and then for gray is no, and then light gray is unknown. So if accidents happen, is there evacuation of employees? So most of them, from the number of accidents, most of them, there is an evacuation of employees. And then for next is another consequence. So is there population evacuation? So there are also accidents that there is a population evacuation, but as you can see here, it's gray, so it means um, it prevails that if there is an accident happen, there is no population evacuation. Okay, next is we have traffic disruption. If there is an accident, is there a traffic disruption? So among the responses, most of them is no. The accident does not cause traffic disruption. But of course, there are cases, but most of the number of accidents are not does not affect the traffic. And then next is we have if there are accident, is there water or ground contamination? So for this figure, there is no water or ground contamination. More accidents are do not relate to water or ground contamination. But there are, of course, a number for yes and unknown. Okay, next is accident scenarios that create new and dangerous chemical substances. So, of course, so for the number of accidents, so we have fires and then runaway reactions and unwanted reactions. So, of course, the accident scenarios that create new and dangerous chemical substances is we have the fires. Okay, next is we have percentages of accidents by scenario causing various consequences for people, infrastructure, and the environment. For evacuation of employees, so the percentage share of fires has the highest, and then the lowest is, of course, the runaway reactions. And then for population evacuations is also fires. And then it's just the same. It's just population evacuation compared to evacuation of employees has more number of shares because of the accident of the consequences. And then here's for traffic disruption is also fires that causes traffic disruptions. And then for water or ground contamination is also fires. It's just that as you can see that for water or ground contamination, unwanted reaction is the least percentage share compared with the other um, consequences. Okay, next is we have substances present and produced during major accidents. So information on substances that are present and produced during accidents is particularly significant for analysis of accident scenarios and assessment of their potential consequences. And then most often, industrial accidents involve pesticides, fertilizers, and polymers, as well as, in a substantial number of accidents, groups of chemical substances such as half-finished organic products and solvents and inorganic compounds used widely in various sectors of the chemical industry. So next is we have major accidents in transport of hazardous substances and materials. So major accidents often occur during transportation of hazardous substances and materials by cars, railways, and water transport, as well as pipeline transport. So accidents most often happen during motor transport. So we have this incident, which is called the Las Alfalques disaster, which happened in July 11, 1978. So for more information of what had happened, there is also a video that you can watch in a, for example, in YouTube. And there's also another one in which it happened in the Ural Mountains last June 4, 1989, in which it's not motor transport, it's just two trains that are traveling, and then behind the railway in the Ural Mountains is we have a pipeline. So what happens there? They increase the pressure, and then what happens is that it is tragic. You can also watch the video. This is one of the most tragic major industrial accidents. So those two, we have the Los Alfaques disaster and in the Ural Mountains. So next is we have programs for preventing major accidents and safety management at establishments. So achieving the major objectives of the system, which for all organizations includes decreasing the risk of a major industrial accident and minimizing the effects if one takes place, requires creating employee awareness and encouraging the right attitudes and behaviors at all levels, from top management to the lowest positions related to installations or activities of specific significance for plant safety. So next is we have safety reports. So preparation of a safety report is a fundamental procedure in the system of preventing major industrial accidents. So the safety report is a type of report containing, for example, required information about the establishment, its installations, technologies, hazardous substances, and so on. Among other things, it should also contain an assessment of the risk of occurrence of a major industrial accident, identify the sources of threats, and contain a description of emergency event scenarios and an assessment of the potential effects of an event. So the report should also contain information on the safety solutions applied, including a description of the technical, organizational, and procedural ways to prevent major industrial accidents and minimize their effects, as well as information related to the internal operational and rescue plan. Okay, next is we have shaping employee attitudes and behaviors in plants posing major industrial accident hazards. Appropriate training, of course, should create awareness of the threats present and convince employees of the compelling necessity to observe the special rules of safety and procedures designed to prevent accidents and limit their consequences. And then the training program should list the specific risks, such as the hazardous substances, nature of threats, technologies in use at the establishment, nature of work performed, and safety-oriented tasks and objectives, and should stress the importance of avoiding actions or behavior that might trigger major accidents or events. So it's also important that employees are prepared to perform various tasks in the case of an emergency, such as chemical rescue, technical rescue, first aid, measuring chemical contamination levels, performing evacuation tasks, firefighting, and many other activities specified in emergency action plans. So the effective completion of tasks with regard to preventing major industrial accidents and limiting their consequences must be ensured by a clear definition of authority and proper descriptions of responsibility. So, the planning and implementation of tasks to shape employee attitudes and behavior should ensure that the employees are appropriately and sufficiently informed of the threats associated with specific hazardous installations and the probable consequences of accidents. So they are informed of the orders, instructions, and recommendations issued by the appropriate authorities and the establishment's management, and the employees participate in consultations to formulate the following documents, such as a program for the prevention of major accidents, a safety report, emergency action plans and procedures, and post-accident report. And then also, employees are regularly trained and instructed in the control practices and procedures for accident prevention and in assessment of situations that might cause a major accident, as well as the procedure to be followed in dangerous situations resulting from such accidents. So continuing, so employees also should act within their scope of activities and without fear of negative consequences, undertake corrective actions, and shut down dangerous systems if they believe there is a risk of a major accident based on their knowledge and experience, and inform their superiors or initiate an alert prior to doing so. And then they should also consult the managerial staff about events that they think are a potential cause of a major accidents. And then follow all procedures and practices related to accident prevention and control in dangerous installations and observe all recommended procedures if a major accident occurs. So, of course, for major industrial accidents, um, accidents are inevitable. Actually, sometimes, even though you're already perfect with your step-by-step procedures and processes, and then accidents still happen. So, as I've said, as I am watching the Nat Geo air crash investigation, so again, so if accidents are inevitable and you cannot avoid it, at least document the study, analyze the accident, so for the next time that will happen, that accident will happen again, and hoping it will not happen again, at least there are already safety regulations and of course rules and regulations for for that not to happen again. So I hope that you've learned something for this lesson all about major industrial accidents. So I hope that all of you are safe, of course. And if you do have any questions, so please feel free to comment below. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel. So thank you very much. Good day and stay safe.